I'll be going over a tutorial on how to play Colt Express. It involves a cast of characters who are all robbing a train. They will be shooting, they will be punching, and there is an actual train, which is totally cool. Everything you see here comes with the game. The little pieces, the train, even the little scenery pieces all come with the game, so you have some, just lots and lots of theme. This is going to be an example of a 4-player game. So I've got 4 character cards out. We've got Belle, Ghost, Cheyenne, and Tuco. The other ones that are included are Django and Doc, each of which have their own special ability, which is really nice. I really like games that have characters with their own special ability. Every character is going to get a character card that they will place on their character sheet. And it says the ability that they get. It also says it here, the ability that they get that's special. Each player will get a deck of cards. These are 10 action cards. And this is what you'll find in the action cards. There's move, there's change level, there's move the marshal, there's shoot, there's robbing, and punch. And all of those are duplicated except for punch and marshal. So you have 10 action cards. Each character will also get 6 bullet cards, and they'll be placed in descending order. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. They are placed on your character card, and then anytime you shoot another character, you give the bullet card to them, and it goes on top of their deck and becomes like a dead card in their hand. So they're going to be diminished from your stack in order, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then once the 1 card has been given to someone, you're out of bullets. And whoever has shot the most bullets during the game will get the Gunslinger Award, which gives you $1,000 at the end of the game. There's also a stack of what's called neutral wound cards that you can get during the game. And they are a hindrance to your deck, as are bullet cards that come from opposing players. When you're setting up the game, you're going to shuffle either the 2 to 4 player cards or the 5 to 6 player cards, depending on how many people are playing. And then you'll take 4 of those cards, make a stack. Then you'll shuffle the 3 stop at the station cards. There are 3 of these. They each have a possible bonus ability at the end of the game. And 1 of these will go on the bottom of your stack. So in this game I shuffled the 4 player cards and I drew 4 of them. You always do 4 no matter how many people are playing. And then I put the station card on the bottom. And this stack is going to go in front of the first player. This stack is going to indicate how each round will go. These cards look like this. It will tell you which turns are going to be face-up action cards, which ones are going to be face-down action cards because you're in a tunnel, and if there's going to be a special action that happens at the end of the round. When you're setting up your train, you always have the locomotive, and you're going to have 1 train car for each of the players in your game. You're going to put the marshal in the locomotive, and he has the lockbox, which looks like a briefcase. I call it a briefcase. And the briefcase is always worth $1,000. Each train car has a little indication on the inside of it, it's very hard to see, it's small, that tells you how much loot you're going to be putting in each car. For instance, this one has 3 purses. This has a purse and a gem. Gems are always 500. The purses can be different amounts, and you don't know what they are until the end of the game. This one has 1 purse, this one has 4 purses and a gem in it. The goal of the game is to get as much money as possible, which makes sense since we're talking about bandits robbing a train. Each player starts with a $250 purse, which you put face down on their character card. I just went ahead and set an order of players for this game, but in an actual game what you would do is take all of the meeples for each character, put them in your hand, shake them up, and have someone else draw one out. And whatever is drawn out is going to be the first player. Then the first player is going to go in the caboose at the back of the train. The second player goes in the next car. the third player also goes in the caboose, and the fourth player goes in the next car. So odd numbered players are in the caboose, even numbered players go in the next car. Let's talk about the action cards that you'll have during the game. The move card lets you move from one train to the other. So for instance, you could move here or here. If you're on the top and you get a move card, you can move here or here. So one train, same level. If you play a change level card, then you can move up to the top if you're on the bottom, or if you're on the top, you can move to the bottom. You can also move the marshal. If you move the marshal, he moves one train car, and if he ever gets to a train car where there are bandits, all of the bandits are immediately put on the top of the car. And any bandit who would move into the space with the marshal will automatically get put on the top of the car. You can also shoot the other players. Not really, just their characters. When you shoot, you can shoot into an adjacent car. For instance, let's say Cheyenne chooses to shoot. She can shoot into this car, and she can choose to shoot either Tuco or Ghost, because those are the characters that are in that car. She can't shoot within her own train. She also can't shoot up or down. If she was on the top of the train, she could shoot this character, Ghost. If she was shooting in this direction, she could only shoot Ghost. She would not be able to shoot Tuco because Ghost is in the line of fire. But if Ghost wasn't there, she could shoot Tuco because at the top of the train, there are no line of sight issues like there are if you're down in the bottom. You can also rob. When you play this card, you can pick up any loot item that is on the floor of the train that you're currently in. If it's a purse token, you can't look at it before you pick it up, and you're going to put it face down on your player card. You also can't look at it once it's down. You won't know till the end of the game. If there's a gem in there, you can pick the gem up, and if the strong box or briefcase is in there, you can pick that up. You can also punch. If you punch someone, it has to be someone on the same car as you. Obviously, it would be very difficult to punch someone in the car next to you. In this case, let's say that Tuco punches Ghost. Ghost would drop one item that he has, one piece of loot, and Tuco would be able to choose which piece of loot he drops. In this case, at the beginning of the game, you only have one. He would drop it in that train, and then he would get moved one train car over because of the force of the punch. The same thing would happen if they were on the top. He would get moved over one car. And those are all the action cards that you could possibly have in the game. Each player, like I said, also has a special ability. Belle's special ability is any time that she is in a car with another player and she would be the one who gets shot or punched, the other player gets shot or punched instead. You can't punch Belle or shoot Belle because she's just so darn pretty. For Ghost's special ability, each turn of the round, he gets to put one card face down, as if he's in a tunnel. So he always, the first turn of each round, gets to play a secret card, and no one else will know what he plays that first turn. Cheyenne's special ability is related to punching. Normally when you punch a character, they drop a piece of loot of your choice onto the floor and get moved one car over. In Cheyenne's case, if she chooses for them to drop a purse, which is one of these little guys, she gets to take it and put it into her inventory immediately, and the rest of the punching occurs as normal. She punches them into the next car. If she chooses for them to drop a gem or the strong box, it drops on the floor as normal. Tuco's special ability lets him shoot up or down. Normally you cannot shoot someone on the top of the car if you're on the bottom, or vice versa. But Tuco can choose to do so. At the beginning of each round, each character is going to draw 6 cards. And then the first player is going to flip over the first round card. So in this case, There are only going to be 3 turns this round. The first turn, everyone is going to play face up, except for Ghost. Then each player is going to play 2 cards, and then there's going to be one more turn where everyone plays face up. And there's no special ability that happens at the end of this round. This is a game of programmable action. That means we're going to be creating a stack of action cards that are then used to define what happens on that turn. The first player will play a card, and in this case it would be face up. Then the next player is going to play a card face up. Well, Ghost would play face down. Super sneaky. Then the next player would play another card face up, and then the last card would play a card face up. Then all of those cards would get flipped over, and you turn them over one at a time and take those actions as they were played. So you want to pay attention to what the players in front of you played, because that will affect the choices you make in which action card you play. And anytime a round has a tunnel in it, which this one doesn't, I think I had an example of one that does. For instance, this round has a tunnel in it. On that turn, everybody's playing their cards face down, so you just kind of have to make your best guess as to where the other characters are going to be and what you're going to be able to do that turn. So let's do an example of a turn right now. In this turn, everyone is going to be playing face-up cards except for Ghost. Belle has looked through the action cards that she has, and she is in a car that's full of loot, so she's going to play robbery. That means she's going to be able to pick up one item of loot from the car. Ghost has chosen a card, and we won't know what he plays until we flip the cards over. Cheyenne is going to do some shooting this turn, and Tuca is going to do some punching. So these are the actions that are going to occur on this turn. We're going to flip this over, and one at a time we're going to find out what happens. We know what happens with the face-up cards. So Belle picks up some loot from the floor, and she wants that gem. So she picks up the gem and then puts it on her character card. Now we find out what Ghost is doing, and Ghost was robbing, so he is picking up the single bag of loot that was in his car. Cheyenne was doing some shooting, so she can shoot into this car. She can't shoot Belle because they're in the same car, but she can shoot either Tuco or Ghost. And let's say she wants to shoot Ghost because he's got more money. So what happens is she's going to take the top bullet card and put it on top of Ghost's deck. So this becomes a dead card in his deck, and will get her closer to becoming the gunslinger. And now we know Tuco is doing some punching, and he is going to punch Ghost because they're in the same car. So he punches Ghost. The first thing he's going to do is he's going to choose one of these bags or one of these purses for Ghost to drop on the floor. So he says, Ghost, I want you to drop this one. So Ghost drops that one, goes on the floor, and then Ghost is going to get punched into an adjacent car. And Tuco can choose which way he punches. He can punch him this way or punch him this way. So let's say he punches him this way. So that's the end of the turn. Everyone's going to get their cards back, and they'll go on the top of their deck. On your turn, if you don't have an action card that you want to play, you can choose to draw 3 cards from the top of your deck instead. The rest of the turn proceeds as normal. You just won't have played a card that turn. On a round like this one, where you'd be playing 2 cards at once, you could, for instance, draw 3 cards first and then play a card, or play a card and then draw 3 cards. Or if things are just looking really bad for you, you can draw 6 cards instead of playing any at all. That's pretty rare. I've played through this first round, so everybody's in a slightly different position, and some people have picked up loot, some people have gotten punched, some people have gotten shot. It's just bedlam on this train. So it's the end of the round. This round card, nothing happens at the end of it, so this is just going to go back in the box. The stack of round cards will move to the player on the left. And the cards that remain in your hand from that round, which you don't replenish during the round, in case I didn't mention it before, are going to get put back in your deck. You're going to shuffle your deck, And then you're going to draw 6 more cards that you'll be able to use in the next round. I do recommend keeping your deck and your hand separate because they're a similar height and it's easy to forget which one is which. And since you only have 10 action cards and you'll have some bullet cards in your deck as well, it's a very small amount of cards that are going to get shuffled a lot because they're going to get shuffled each round, and there are 5 rounds in each game. So that's a lot of shuffling for a small amount of cards. I don't sleeve every card in every game that I have. I definitely recommend sleeving these cards because they're going to show wear pretty fast. The new first player will now flip over the new round card. And we have 4 turns that are all going to be face-up cards, except for Ghost. And at the end of this round, we're going to have braking. What will happen is the train will be coming to a stop or slowing down, and anyone that is on the top of the cars is going to get moved 1 car forward because they're getting pushed forward by the train braking. So if you don't want to get moved around, you need to be in a car, or you can strategically place yourself so you get moved forward someplace that you want to be. So that is an example of something that can happen at the end of the round that will then affect what happens during the next round. The game will continue in this way each time, or each round, passing the new deck to the next player and having them turn over the round card, going to this player, turn over the round card, finish that round. And this goes to the next player, and this is the stop card. So this is the last round of the game. You'll carry out the turns that are on the card. You'll do whatever special action happens at the end, and there are only 3 stop cards, so there are not that many different actions that can happen at the end of the game. And once the game is over, you're going to count up how much loot you have. You can flip over your purse tokens and you count up any gems, lockbox, or purses, anything that you have on your character card. And at the end of the game, whoever has shot the most bullets is going to get the Gunslinger Award. Oftentimes there'll be 1 person or maybe 2 people who have shot all of their bullets. And what they'll do then is turn over the character card to show that they get the Gunslinger Award, which is $1,000 to add to whatever they have on their character sheet. And whoever has the most money wins the game because they're the best bandits in the old Wild West. I'm kind of in love with this game. The production quality is super high, and they could very easily have just made a board that has the inside of the train cards at the bottom, and then the top of the train cars and another line, and put nice artwork on it. But to actually have a train for reals that you're playing on just is really neat. It can be a little clunky, especially if you have larger hands or big fingers, which I don't have, to reach inside and be moving the people around. But what you get from having this actual train to play on definitely outweighs any awkwardness that it creates. It's also nice because it comes with a box that there's room to store everything in. Yay! I love it when boxes have places to store stuff instead of just being an empty hole of board game death. So there's a spot for each of your train cars, there's a spot for the locomotive, there's even enough room to store all your cards if they're sleeved. Thank you for doing this. Thank you so much for doing this. That is Colt Express. Very fun, very simple, very quick. Love it. Check it out. Thanks for visiting the Dragon Table. I will see you next time. Yeehaw!